My name is Cynthia Chang. I'm the program director at the Pediatric Residency Program at Southern University Hospital. And I have two of our residents online right now. I'll let them introduce themselves.
Hi, my name is Sheena. I'm a third year at the SIUH Pediatric Residency Program. Nice to meet everyone.
Hi, and I'm Lisa. I'm a first year. Nice to meet you all.
Nice to meet you all. Next up, we have Children's Hospital at Montefiore representing the Bronx.
Hi, I'm Megan McCabe. I'm the program director at CHAM, which is the Children's Hospital at Montefiore. I unfortunately don't have any residents with me tonight because we had a competing gun violence seminar happening right now. So unfortunately, they mostly chose to do that. But I'm really excited to talk to all of you about our program.
Nice to meet you, Dr. McCabe. Thank you for joining. And lastly, some of my colleagues at York Presbyterian Columbia.
Hey everyone, I'm Steve Pick. I am the program director at Columbia. And I will let you know Kais already. And Sanford, are you there?
I'm here indeed. What's up, everybody? My name is Sanford. I am a second-year resident at CHONY, Children's Hospital of New York, Columbia. Looking forward to meeting you guys.
Alrighty, so nice to meet everyone. So now that we've done our introductions, why don't we go ahead and get started with the presentations. As outlined previously, it'll be about 6 minutes per program. And why don't we go ahead and get started? Great. So we'll start up with New York.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. So as I mentioned, my name is Heather Howell. I am the program director at NYU. We're really excited to be here tonight. I'm going to just give some quick stats about our program to start. So we're a medium-sized program. We have 58 residents. We have 18 categorical, and then we have 2 neurology prelims who spend 2 years of their training with us. And we're located in the heart of Manhattan. We're on the east side in the Murray Hill neighborhood. And we spend our clinical time between 2 hospitals. They spend 50% of their time in each. And those hospitals are about 3 blocks apart. So if you're not from New York, that's like a quick 5-minute walk. Bellevue is one of the hospitals. It's one of the oldest public hospitals in the country. And really the mission is to care for patients regardless of their ability to pay. And the majority of the patients that we care for come from the medically underserved populations of the city. And then we also spend half of our time at Hassenfeld Children's Hospital at NYU Langone. That hospital just opened 2 years ago. And really cares for medically complex children who need advanced levels of care with many subspecialties. Since we only have 6 minutes, I wanted to spend most of my time talking about what I think is the best thing about our program, and that is our residents. So I'm just going to give you a few examples that I hope will give you a sense of who we are. So first, I'm going to talk about 2 of our second-year residents, Michelle Ramos and Michael Gaffney. Who during their intern year and at the peak of the COVID pandemic recognized that in our Bellevue patients, there was increasing food and financial insecurity. And a lot of the resources that were typically available were more limited. So they independently launched a campaign and in a few short weeks raised $25,000 that went to provide food and diapers to our patients in the clinic, and also helped to get them to patients that we were doing telemedicine for. And I think this is an example of advocacy, which is one of the values of our program. I also wanted to talk about, so we mentioned the 2 hospitals and sort of the opportunities for training. One of our current third years, Love Makadia, is applying for a cardiology fellowship. And he knew he wanted to be a cardiologist from right at the beginning. And he took advantage of a lot of the individualized curriculum time that we have across the 3 years. To spend more time learning about cardiology. And during his second year, he spent 2 weeks shadowing some of our cardiovascular surgeons, going to their CAF conference, going to surgeries with them to see complex open heart surgery, and to the cardiovascular care unit to see post-op care. And this is just an example of subspecialty opportunities for those of you interested in subspecialty pediatrics. In general pediatrics, we also have a lot of great opportunities. Cynthia Estrada is one of our residents who just graduated, who came in knowing she wanted to be a community-based pediatrician for the underserved, and really was in her element at Bellevue and had a wonderful following of dedicated patients. And she just graduated and stayed within the H&H network, which is the public hospital network in New York City, and joined a practice in Lower Manhattan, Gouverneur Pediatrics, which is a community-based practice. So she's a good example of success in general pediatrics, which I think are opportunities that Bellevue really allow for. And then I want to talk about the two residents who are here with me tonight. So Stefan is going to be an adolescent medicine physician. He's going to be one of our chiefs next year. But during his first 2 years, became involved with a program called Prevention and Educational Partnership, which is a partnership between pediatrics and emergency medicine here at NYU. And they go out into the high schools and do a lot of education around risk behaviors. And so Stefan spent countless hours, often post-call, doing that. He is also the president of our Diversity and Inclusion Committee. And there is a ton of initiatives around education and mentorship and outreach and recruitment. And our current intern class, 40% of them self-identify as URIM. And that speaks to the success, I think, of Stefan and his colleagues in a lot of their efforts. And then Britt, who is going to be an allergist. Britt did not know that she wanted to be an allergist when she started residency, but was able to use some of her early elective time to explore different things and realize that's where her passion is, and has had some success with publications. But Britt also exemplifies somebody who has interests outside of clinical medicine. She is a very talented writer, and this year published an editorial in The Atlantic and most recently in JAMA as a first author, talking about the risks of rushing a vaccine for SARS-CoV-2. So we encourage our residents to have interests outside of just clinical medicine, and I think Britt is a great example. So all of these are just examples of stories of our residents. They all have individual stories. They've all been successful. They really are the heart of this program, and I feel very privileged to work with them. And I hope that you will consider coming to get to know them and us a little bit better during this recruitment season. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Dr. Howell. Appreciate it. Next up, we have Maria Freire Children's Hospital at Westchester Medical Center with Dr. Matt Kapline.
Hi, guys. 6 minutes is not nearly enough time for me or anybody else here to talk about our program in any reasonable depth. Before I even get started, I want to say that all of you students totally lucked out in getting into this breakout room. You have some of the most fantastic programs that you could possibly imagine that are all within 20 miles of each other, which is pretty amazing. So I decided I'm gonna give myself 2 minutes to go over the infographic, 2 minutes to tell you 5 things that I want people to know before they apply to my program, and 2 minutes for my 2 residents to say whatever is on their mind about what they want people to know about our program. So you've heard the word diversity a lot. One of the nice things that Westchester offers, well, first, where is Westchester? Westchester is the county just north of New York City. If you consider New York City to be where you can get on a subway from where you are standing, then Westchester Medical Center does not count as New York City. If you consider New York City to be a place where you live, where you can still have access to the place where you work, and all the things that New York City provides, then I personally think of us, our program, as having more in common with the New York City programs than with the other upstate programs like Rochester and Buffalo. Several of my residents live in New York City. I live in New York City. If the sun was out right now, you would see the beautiful Hudson River behind me. I live in the Bronx and Riverdale, and it takes me less than half an hour to get to work every day. So in addition to the great diversity of urban patients that all the New York City programs have, we, by virtue of being a little further north in the Hudson Valley, also get a great selection of rural and suburban patients as well. I think that the diversity of pathology we see at Westchester is just amazing, and it's been the main thing that's kept me there as a practitioner for almost 2 decades now. We attract residents from all over the country. About 2/3 of our residents go on to do fellowships of one kind or another. They tend to match very well. If you come to our website, you can see a list. When you ask our residents what they like best about our program, their typical answer is each other. Their typical answer is, I love my fellow residents, which I think speaks really well of our culture and our program. We do not have tracks. We take a very individualized approach to resident education. Your individual blocks are really wide open to you. You can do essentially whatever you want as long as you have a reasonable educational justification. And as a result, our residents do a lot of very interesting and unique things during their individual blocks. We do fine on the boards. We've got a required scholarly project and faculty who will help you set it up. We have a dedicated wellness curriculum. We have a diversity and wellness committee, and I think that that's played a large part in our improved recruitment of underrepresented minority students into our program in recent years, which I'm very proud of. We are a medium-sized program, 20 residents per class. And I think that's all I want to say about, Maria Ferrari, you should know, is a full-service children's hospital that is part of a larger medical center. Okay, 5 things I want you to know about my program. I already told you that we are not an upstate program, although if to you the borders of the United States of America end at the borders of New York City, then we are definitely an upstate program. We're practically a Canada program. The one thing you should know about our program is our interns, as all of our other residents, do 24-hour call. We do not use a shift system. We do that because we think it's the best for us. And if you're willing to hear more about that, come and check us out. But if you stopped listening as soon as I said 24-hour call, that's okay. We're not for you. I told you about our tracks. I think that we have a very strong culture in our program. Our residents look out for each other. They train each other. They love what they do. There is a joy that suffuses our program that just makes me proud and happy every day. And the main thing you should know about interviews in our program is that we offer interviews on a rolling basis. So if you don't get an interview invitation from us on October 21st, don't worry. We offer more interview slots as the season goes on. Please do not take it as any sort of indication of how much we like you or how interested we are in you. We just don't have an infinite number of slots, so we open them up as the season goes on. Okay, hopefully that was about 4 minutes. Kelly and Tori, say what you want about our program.
I wasn't timing Dr. Kaplan, but I think it was probably more than 4 minutes, so I'll say something really quickly. As a third year, I think a lot of the other third year residents on the call can probably relate to this. You start to think about what you've learned so far. And I feel like at this program, I'm realizing that I have seen and learned so much more than I ever could have imagined. Like Dr. Kaplan said, we have a very big diversity of patients and diversity of cases. And I feel so very well prepared, still having so many more months to go out in the real world and practice on my own after what I've seen here. Tori?
Thanks, Kelly. Hey, I'm Tori, guys. I wanted to talk specifically about the residents as well. So I could tell from the beginning how when I would go on interview dinners, I would see how the residents would interact with us, and I could see whether or not they were excited to talk about their program and get to know us, or if they were more just interested in talking to each other and eating food. And so from the get-go, everyone was super interested in talking about the program and how much they loved it. And then that then transitioned to when we were interns, those same people reached out to us and wanted to get to know us better and wanted to support us. So basically, and I also found that they were I think I'm being pushed on. But I just want to say I really love our residents, and I think they're the best thing about our program, and I truly feel supported and appreciated by all of them.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kaplan, Kelly, and Tori. Next up, we'd love to hear from Zucker School of Medicine at Staten Island University Hospital.
Hi, hello, how are you doing? As I mentioned, my name is Cynthia. I'm the program director at Staten Island University Hospital. Having said that, our official name is Zucker School of Medicine at Hofstra/Northwell at Staten Island University Hospital Pediatric Residency Program. Last time I checked, it's like 15 words, but hopefully you'll be able to find us. We are located in Staten Island, and for those of you who are not familiar with New York City, I myself personally live in Jersey, but I grew up in New York, so I do know for a fact that Staten Island is one of the boroughs, the 5 boroughs of New York City. So it's a little island of its own. If you want more information, I guess you could watch The King of Staten Island on Netflix or Jersey Shore. Having said that, that's not a good representation. So we are a small size program. We have 24 residents, 8 per year, all categorical, no prelims. And we take students from CUNY Med, Touro, and sub-Is from other hospitals, other medical schools also. Let's see. What does our residents go on to do? I would say half of them go into Gen Peds and half of them go into fellowship. There's a huge emphasis on research, and we have our own, what we call a PRSC, Pediatric Research and Scholarship Committee. We meet once a month. We make sure all the residents are doing a scholarly activity, and we help them along. We mentor them, we guide them. And if you want more information on that, there is a recent article in Academic Pediatrics regarding that, so check that out. I think the most important highlight of our program, as it's on the slide, is our faculty. They love to teach. As I mentioned, we're not a large institution, so I can say for a fact, and you know, Sheena, Lisa, please back me up later, that all our residents have all the faculty cell phone numbers stored in their phone. They text them in the middle of the night for unofficial consults, ask them questions 24/7, and our faculty are always available to support them, guide them, and mentor them. So I feel like that's a huge, being a smaller program, we're able to provide that. Our residents live all over the place. Some of them live on Staten Island, some in Brooklyn, some in Jersey, some in Manhattan. And I can say for a fact that they develop lifelong relationships, not only with each other, but with the faculty as well. We all still go to weddings of residents that graduated 5-6 years ago. We're a program actually that's only been around 10 years. We just celebrated our 10th birthday this June. So I guess you could consider us a tween in Indian age-wise. So we're tweens. And so far that we have, a great track record. The fellowships they get, and you could just check out our website. I think all the places they've gone to, it's listed there, so you could just check that out. But I can say for a fact that many of our graduates have gone out into the world, have done fellowship, and even come back as attending. And even in our continuity clinic, let me think, we have actually 3 of our graduates who stayed on to be mentors and attendings for our current pediatric residents. So I feel like that's a great track record, and I think that speaks for itself. If your own residents go out into the world and come back to teach your current residents, I think that's a testament to the program. What do we value most in our program? I get that question asked a lot. And in our program, I think for us, it's resident wellness. We truly believe in that balance between work and home family. So our program, our PEDS residents, they have their own social committee. They're financially supported by the program. They get a small stipend that they use. And pre-COVID, they did a lot of stuff. I don't ask what they did, but I heard there was a lot of alcohol involved. But now they use that to do, let's see, virtual painting together. They meet together for virtual happy hours. And it's very active. We provide residents with what we call resident wellness days. They get up to 4 days per year, exclusive of vacation or anything else, where they can use to go to a doctor's appointment, dentist, or even just stay home to take their pet to a vet. Anything they need that day for, they're allowed to use it, and they don't have to tell us the reason. You just talk to the chief and said, look, I need this personal day, and they're allowed to be excused. We have scheduled wellness activities that's run by the GMAC. Again, pre-COVID, we used to do yoga classes, Zumba classes, pet therapy, ice cream socials. A lot of that has been turned virtual, but I can still state for a fact that our residents still stick together. They're really close. I can attest to that. And as always, I'm sure many programs do this, but we always have an open door policy. I can say for myself, aside from the regular semi-annual meetings, our residents, they just text me. they say, hey, Dr. Chang, I'm outside your office. Can I just come in? I just need to talk to you about something that happened last night while I was on call, or something that happens at home. I know when our residents, when they're going through a tough time. I know when their grandfather passed from COVID last month, or when, they broke up with their significant other. So they come to us not only for professional, but personal reasons also. So I think, and like I said, I could talk to you, as I think Matt mentioned, I could talk here for hours, like, saying all the great things about our program, but hopefully you all will get to, meet some of our residents later in the breakout room, and you'll hear it firsthand from them. That is all for me, and all I can say is check us out on our website, and we do have an Instagram, and check us out there. All right, that's all for tonight.
Thank you so much, Dr. Chang.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have Dr. McCabe with the Children's Hospital at Montefiore.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for the opportunity to talk to you about our program. The Children's Hospital at Montefiore is located about as far away as you can get from Staten Island in New York City. What Dr. Chang said earlier is true. One of our PICU fellowship grads actually came from Staten Island and just returned there as faculty. And one of the things we always talk about with our applicants when they come to visit is they can live really pretty much anywhere they want in New York City, but we don't suggest Staten Island because it is so far away. And part of that is our example of our former fellow who was commuting from Staten Island to come work in our PICU. CHAM is what we call our hospital. It's a lot easier than saying the full Children's Hospital at Montefiore. CHAM is located, as I said, in the Bronx. It's in the most northern part of the Bronx, so we're pretty far up, almost into Westchester in terms of location. It is, however, a very urban center. We really enjoy our environment. The Bronx is one of the most diverse communities in the US, and so we get to enjoy having patients who are literally from all over the world when they come to seek care at our Children's Hospital. As a trainee in our program, you will be part of a relatively large program. We have 85 residents. They're broken up into some other groups. We have typically 23 categoricals, 4 who are in our social pediatrics program, which I'll tell you a little bit more about, and then 2 per year join us as child neurology trainees. So they stay for their first 2 years and then go on to do their neurology training. Our main clinical site is CHAM, but our NICU and behavior and development rotations are at Weiler Hospital, which some of you may know from interviewing or looking at Albert Einstein College of Medicine. That's also in the Bronx. It's about, if you were a bird, 3 miles away. Those of us who have to take the bus or the shuttle or drive their own cars or ride their bikes, it actually doesn't matter what mode of transportation you take. It takes about 20 minutes to get over to Weiler. Our program places a lot of emphasis on graduated autonomy, helping our trainees develop clinical decision-making and really fostering intellectual curiosity. We want our residents to pursue their areas of interest in pediatrics. We provide you with lots of different electives in all 3 years of training, and we support you to do research projects during your time at CHAM. Everybody's required to do one. We don't require you to do them in any specific area. People have done clinical research projects, educational research projects, quality improvement and patient safety, and also ethics projects. We do know that everybody comes in with a little bit of a different background. So as part of our curriculum, we have research boot camps in 2nd and 3rd year to help people refine their ideas and develop the skills that they need to put forth really fantastic projects. When you come to interview, we will definitely share with you a list of recent publications and presentations that our residents have done over the last few years. We really emphasize that it's a large program, but we have a family feel. If anybody's looking to follow us on social media, we often use the hashtag Chamily. It's a big part of our program culture. We use it in a number of different ways. One is to be responsive to our residents during the time that they're training. We really believe that you're adult learners by the time you become a resident. And so part of our job is to make sure that we teach you the things you need to know to be an independent practicing pediatrician, but that we're also responsive to your ideas about how your learning would take place the best. Sometimes that means altering conferences. Sometimes that means integrating new ideas into our curriculum. And sometimes that means just really making sure that what we're emphasizing is what you need to learn as you're moving through your training. A really good example of our responsiveness to those kinds of ideas is our parade curriculum. We have a committee in the residency program called LEADER, which is Leadership, Engagement, Advocacy, and Diversity in Education. A few years ago, some of our residents decided that they wanted to have a little bit more learning about social determinants of health, anti-racism, and advocacy. So they created a curriculum called Parade, which is Pediatric Advocacy, Rights, and Diversity Education. We started it, as I said, a few years ago with a few lectures and workshop series. And over the course of the last few years, it's blossomed into a much broader umbrella. It now incorporates something we call culturally humble conversations, where we invite advocates and patients to come and talk to us about their experiences within the healthcare system as underrepresented minorities. We have a retention component where we foster diversity dialogues and mentoring dinners for our URM grads. And then we also have a community aspect where we do something called diversity dining, where a few times a year we invite everybody to bring in foods from their own cultures and eat and share and talk about them. We're figuring out how to refigure that for COVID. It may involve individually packaged servings so that everybody can sample things without sharing. Like everything else with COVID, we're just figuring out how to tweak the things we really love and make them better. Other aspects of our program that I think are important to know about, I talked a little about social pediatrics. This is a specific program. It's housed under our pediatric residency, but it is its own spot in the match, and it has its own application process. So for those of you who are interested in social pediatrics, it's helpful to know that ahead of time. It's really for trainees with special interest in advocacy, health policy, social justice, and community and public health. The residents in social pediatrics spend time with our categorical residents doing the usual expected ward rotations, but they have additional experiences in clinic, and part of an academic half day is spent in the social pediatrics environment learning more specific advocacy and public health skills. A few other highlights of our program are our wellness program, as well as our resilience series. Our wellness program is fostered by the residents. It's directed by the residents. We have monthly faculty-led debriefings.
I need to jump in here and get on to the next, sorry.
Sure. And then the last thing I'll say is we've had weekly massage sessions for the residents. The residents would be very angry with me if I didn't mention that. So I'll include that. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing, Dr. McCabe. Next up and last, but certainly not least, we have my home institution, New York Presbyterian Morgan Stanley Children's Hospital at Columbia University.
First of all, I just want to say how awesome pediatrics is and how awesome our colleagues are, because as you can see, we are dedicated both to our patients and to our residents. And just quick thing, even though we're New York Presbyterian Columbia, we've had 400 different names. We're originally Babies Hospital starting in 1887, and we lovingly call ourselves CHONY, and that's a long story, so we won't get into it. You guys can read all the program highlights, but we are housed in the community of Washington Heights, and the two things that we really focus on is professional development and personal development. And really, residency is 80% personal development and 20% professional development, because a lot of it is developing you, learning from each other, and learning from us. So I'm going to pass it over to both Sanford and Kais, because I think that they can speak more to our program and their experiences.
What's up, guys? Sanford, PGY2 again. So happy to be here and so good to see a lot of new faces and familiar faces. I'll be quick, but I just want to preface everything by saying that, you know, you've heard a lot already, but you can't go wrong in this region. The second I got on this call, I saw people I love from all over. They're amazing programs, and I really think you can't go wrong. But to talk a little bit about my program and why I'm so happy here, I'll just give like 3 quick brief points. The first of which is, you know, I have to say it, I came here and I made friends, but they're family, right? And everyone says that, but like when I say that this is my family, my wife and I are expecting, and people in this program, my co-residents, my chiefs, my program director, they found out before my primary family, right? And that just goes to show just how close that we get. And it's just a wonderful place to be because of that, among many other things. One of the other things that I really, really love about CHONI is just the exposure to pathology and the teaching that we get here. I was a little bit intimidated when I came because I knew we saw a lot of things and I didn't know if, you know, I'd be able to ask questions or if I'd be comfortable saying I didn't know things. But within the first week or two of being here, I realized that this is a place where they encourage you to say, I don't know, a place where they encourage you to ask questions. And what that does is it really gives you freedom to learn. And I feel like over my year and change here so far, I've learned so much, and I'm really just looking forward to seeing all the other things that I'll continue to learn in my last year. And the last thing, and one of the things that I feel like is really truly a testament to the kind of place that this is, and I'm sure it's true of other places too, but here it's particularly true. CHONI is full of lifers, right? There are people who come here for residency, they stay for fellowship, they stay as attendings, or they might leave and come back. And I think a lot of that's just a testament to how strong the connection in the family is here. People come and they're just attached to it, and they're attached to each other. And because of that, just the community that we have is something special. And I'm really happy to be a part of it. Yeah, look forward to meeting some of you guys hopefully soon in interviews.
Thank you, Sanford. And just to speak a little bit more to what Sanford was saying, I just want to highlight briefly 4 things that I feel like I'm really proud about as having been a resident at CHONI. One is our community pediatrics engagement program. We have a community peds residency group called CPAP, which is has grown to have such a larger presence over the 3-4 years that I've been at CHONI. Additionally, we do quite a bit of advocacy work. A lot of that is resident-led and very much supported by faculty. We have a narrative medicine program. We have a master's of narrative medicine at the medical center, which is something that some of our current residents and prior residents have taken part in. So we have a narrative medicine curriculum that is weaved in through the academic year. And then our Pediatric Diversity and Inclusion Council has really had, which Sanford is one of the co-vice presidents of, and I was the former scholarly liaison for, has had become a large interdisciplinary and collaborative program at our institution that was initially residents and faculty, and is now a lot of faculty, a lot of residents, child life specialists, nurse practitioners, social workers, and we're really, really proud of that involvement and really working to tackle not just diversity, but inclusion, health equity, belonging, and really incorporating that more firmly into our medical education with the support of Dr. Paik. So those are a few things about our program, and we look forward to hearing your questions during the Q&A. Great. So those are all the intros, and I think we're running a little bit over time, but if anyone else has anything to say, please chime in. Otherwise, we'll go ahead and get started in the Q&A. As previously mentioned, the questions that are in the chat or on Twitter will be placed into a Google document, and it is from the Google document that I will then be asking the moderator who is owning that question to then read that question and then address it to the particular target of that question. So why don't we go ahead and get started? And again, feel free to use the chat box and the Twitter, and our moderators will be monitoring both of those.
So Ben Phillipson oh, okay, never mind. He initially just messaged me, and I wasn't sure if we were having some sort of secret conversation, but now he messaged everybody. So.
Ben Phillipson is asking, could each of the programs talk a bit about the research, the physician scientist and translational research components of their programs? Why don't we go ahead? I think someone was already unmuted. Why don't we start from, we can start from the top end of the moderator list and go to the bottom. So starting back off with NYU.
Sure. Hi. So all of our categorical residents pick a scholarly pathway during their second and third year. It's a longitudinal pathway. And one of the options for that pathway is research. And so there's opportunities to do research. Clinical research usually lends itself to a longitudinal experience. We have residents who do basic science research, and they will often do a block of time depending on what their mentor is seeking. So we have people who work with our infectious disease division or cardiology in their labs, and then they have the opportunity to do 4 weeks.
Great. Thank you so much, Dr. Howell.
So I mentioned that all of our residents do a scholarly project. For about 50% of those residents, that scholarly project consists of original research, either small clinical projects. I mean, we want them to be the primary investigator. So none of them are running multi-institutional, randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled, NIH-funded studies. Although we would welcome such a person if they wanted to put such a thing together as a resident. So about half do original research. I would say probably 60% clinical, 40% translational, and bench. Almost all of our bench research is based in our 4 divisions that have fellowships. The remaining 50%, I would say, do scholarly quality improvement. This is a real area that's grown for us in the past several years. We are a very QI-oriented program, both as it relates to the program itself, as well as to our hospital and the patients we take care of. So we don't have a track per se, but all of our residents graduate either having done original research or spearheaded a QI, a scholarly QI project, sometimes both.
So for our program, same as similar, we do not have a separate track, but we do have dedicated blocks ranging from 2 to 4 week research blocks, call free, where you can just do research on whatever project you're working on. And it could range from basic research, bench research, which is coordinated with the Feinstein Institute, or it could be a simple case report. But all of our residents are, all of them do at least 1 project each year.
And at CHAM, our residents all also do a scholarly project. There are 2 opportunities within the curriculum to pursue the research project of your choice. One is you can actually do a research elective, and the other is to use what we have as a 3rd year rotation, which is our free elective time, where you are call free and it's a self-designed educational experience. A lot of our residents do use that time to finish up a research project and write a manuscript or create an abstract for presentation at a national meeting. And that is also time that people have used to go into the lab. We haven't had anybody in recent years do the basic science tracks through the ABP, but that's also something our department's open to.
We have 1 slot per year for a physician scientist track, and with the expectation that they enter into the integrated research pathway through the ABP. But also we have a focus where you can have physician scientists or those who are interested in doing more basic science take up to 6 blocks of research time over their 3 years. And last but not least, we also have a half academic day where we have a longitudinal scholarly project day where you can take a half a day, apply into it. If you have a longitudinal project, and in the 2nd and 3rd year, you can take, you basically marry your half of a clinic day and half of a academic day to be able to have that protected time off to do scholarly work.
Great. Thank you so much to everyone. We have a couple of questions that are in the Google document. I'm trying to find the most program specific ones. Let me just see. We have one individual who is asking, I'm currently a California resident and medical student, but grew up on the East Coast and I'm exploring residency options on the East Coast. As PDs, are you hesitant to interview / accept students from California? And is there anything that they can do to express their interest?
Matt, you're muted.
Yeah. Normally we refuse to interview people from California, but since you grew up on the East Coast, I think we may make an exception in your case. No, okay, here's the real answer. Don't worry about it, okay? Not an issue. It's not an issue for me. I can guarantee you it's not an issue for any of the other program directors, not only in this breakout room or anywhere else. So, not an issue.
Concur.
Yes, definitely.
And then let's see. And we don't have any other program specific questions so far, and we're running short on time, but I will try to highlight just a couple more. What should an IMG consider when applying to a program besides checking to see if the program is IMG friendly or not? International medical graduate.
That's a tough question to answer. You know, I would say that you should look for the same things anybody else looks for, which is an environment that you think you'll be comfortable training in and people who you think you'd like to train with. You know, you can't do anything about how interested the program is in you. So focus on the things that are interesting or less interesting to you about the program. Hopefully that was a semi-helpful thing to say.
That was semi-helpful, yes. Thank you, Dr. Kaplan. Those are all of our program. We don't actually have any other program specific questions right now, and I know we're now at the 9:02 mark. So at this time, I think transitioning to the virtual happy hour session with the residents is where we'll go to next, where some of the questions that have come up in the chat, in addition to Twitter, and that are on the Google document, some of the residents of the different programs can go ahead and talk about openly. And I see that the breakout rooms are actually closing in.
So is this the part where we leave? Is this the part where the old fogies leave?
I think so, but otherwise, we're all going to be kicked out in a minute and a half anyway. So whatever you decide, Dr. Kaplan. If there are any last minute lingering.
9 o'clock's my bedtime anyway, so.
Great.
It was great seeing everyone. Great seeing everyone's wonderful work in your programs.
Yeah, thanks so much, guys.
Take care.
You guys make me want to apply to residency again.
No.
We might think about it.
All right. I think we could just press leave.
Yeah, we still have 60 seconds.
All right. Matt, you can take the whole time.
There are no malignant pediatric residency programs. Hopefully
Period.
you're getting that. Hopefully you're getting that sense from this call.
Period.
A lot of this is follow your heart and look for the bells and whistles that appeal to you. You know, look for the little things. You're not going to find a lot of unfriendly, unhappy residency programs in this field.
And not only that, but the great thing about pediatrics is we all share with each other as program directors at national meetings. There's no proprietary information. I think that as each of us share, the better all of our residents are, and that means that we care better for each and every one of our children also. So,
yeah.
As soon as a program comes up with something good, the rest of us steal it. So,
Exactly.
All right, we have 5 more seconds.
Right.
It was so nice to meet you all and see some of your familiar faces. Hope to do this again soon.
Thanks so much. We're pulling everyone back to this main room right now. If you are program leadership, we thank you so much for joining us. Now is the time that we will say our goodbyes to you. See you later. Thanks for joining us. And
Thank you so much.
Our applicants and residents on the call here for the resident after hours. Here's how we structured it last time. It's very informal. We will be dividing everybody here up among 25 different breakout rooms. So the resident to applicant ratio will be ideal. We have set aside